Hello, kumusta po sa iyong lahat? And thank you for allowing me to provide a bit of insight on the implications of a 670 megawatt coal-fired power plant. I am Rudolph Santaromana, and I'm happy to have this opportunity to speak with you all today, although I regret that I cannot be there in person to address you, Honorable Vice Mayor and Mayor Concepcion, and of course the other distinguished guests in attendance today. To introduce a little bit about myself, I am a grandson of the late ex-mayor Timoteo Santaromana from Luna La Union, and I have studied energy in a global context. Today I speak to you with the goal of imparting some of the knowledge that I have attained in my graduate studies in energy engineering, which has brought me to several countries in Europe and Africa. I will discuss how the implications of the proposed coal-fired power plant are not localized to the vicinity of Luna, but are also of concern to you, our neighbors in Balaoan. This is a quick and abbreviated version of another presentation that has been slightly adjusted. I can share the extended version if you are interested to know more, as today's presentation will only cover the environmental impacts of the plant. Now, to understand the magnitude of a 670 megawatt power station, let's do a quick calculation of what the plant will produce and what it will consume. This can be seen from the highlighted portion here from the environmental impact study of the project. They will burn 5,112 tons of coal every day, a truly massive amount of coal, accounting for a conservative estimate that the plant will function at about 60% of its full capacity throughout the year. This is typical of coal plants. This means that in 1 year, the plant can produce about 3.5 terawatt hours of electricity over the course of the year, which is enough electricity for more than 5 million Filipinos annually. This part of the EIS also highlights that 78 tons of fresh potable water per hour are needed, which is enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool every 1.3 days, about 1 day in 8 hours, putting excessive strain on the utilities that have to provide this clean water to citizens and to agriculture. And finally, the plant will utilize and release over 111,000 tons of cooling water per hour, enough to fill more than 44 Olympic-sized swimming pools every day, and this water will be released into the sea. This is of how typical cleaning technologies are implemented in a coal plant. The crushed coal is burned in the boiler, which generates the heat necessary to produce electricity. The exhaust goes through several treatments before it is released up the stack, which is the exhaust pipe of the plant. Assuming that the plant will utilize the best available cleaning technologies, according to data from the International Energy Agency, the emissions would result in the following: huge amounts of carbon dioxide, nitrous oxides or NOx, sulfur dioxides, and particulate matter or PM. And these emissions would be emitted every single year for the duration of the operation of the plant. These are big numbers, so to put these into perspective, let's compare them to the emissions from a diesel truck, which has the same constituents in its exhaust. Imagine a diesel truck traveling round trip from Luna to Manila and back, which is about a 600-kilometer round trip, and the exhaust emissions that one truck doing this trip every single day, 365 days of the year, produce. Now, I would need a fleet of over 12,000 of the highest emitting, dirtiest diesel trucks doing this every single day to get the 1.5 million tons of nitrous oxides which will be coming out of the plant's stack. But still, what do these emissions mean to us? Well, Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas which leads to global warming and increased incidence of typhoons, melting glaciers, and climate change. The emissions of nitrous oxides, sulfur oxides, and particulate matter have more local and regional effects, including acid rain and health issues. Particulate matter and NOx, which is a constituent of smog, cause many different respiratory diseases: stroke, heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, asthma, and other health issues. Particulate matter and smog pollution has been estimated to cause millions of premature deaths, according to a study done in 2015 by the International Council on Clean Transport. You can see some excerpts from that study here. Recall that these emissions will occur through the stack of the coal power plant as opposed to the exhaust pipes of trucks from diesel trucks. And from this single point source, the pollutants are going to be carried through the air. According to the EIS of the plant, through their air dispersion modeling, the calculations of the highest ground level concentrations, or GLCs, are expected to occur 7 kilometers to the southeast of the plant. Now that means that the greatest measured concentrations will occur in the southeastern quadrant, depending on the direction of the prevailing winds coming off of the coast, which will carry the pollutants. This image kind of demonstrates this mechanism. As you can see here, the plume of smoke rising from these stacks here in the bottom left of the image, and then being carried downwind a distance, and then eventually falling where the GLCs occur. Furthermore, these emissions also can undergo reactions in the atmosphere, producing acid rain, which, for the sake of time, I cannot discuss in detail here, except to say that it affects agriculture and human and animal health, getting into our waterways and affecting all of these ecosystems. Some of the effects are listed here. Now, with that in mind, and the 7-kilometer distance for the GLCs in mind, here's a map of the region surrounding the proposed site, denoted here by this blue marker, for the coal-fired power plant. At a 7-kilometer distance in the southeastern direction of the plant, the greatest GLCs, ground level concentrations, occur, and this falls directly within Luna's neighboring Balaoan. If we continue to draw an arc at a 7-kilometer radius from the plant in the southeastern quadrant, this purple line represents the regions that can experience the greatest GLCs of these emissions from the plant, and we see that a majority of this area falls right within the municipality of Balaoan. Furthermore, if we zoom in on a portion of this map, we can see how these GLCs fall within the central part of town. The 7-kilometer distance from the plant falls exactly where the elementary and high schools in Balaoan are located, therefore causing further concern for the youth of La Union, of Balaoan. I personally was extremely surprised to discover this for myself. However, the information is directly presented in the EIS, and one can verify this finding for themselves. It is thus clear that the plant causes serious implications not only to the citizens of Luna, but also to the citizens of our neighbors in the region of La Union. Now, in regards to the ash produced by the plant, from the EIS again shown here, we can see that the plans for ash handling includes a 1.5 hectare ash pond for the coal ash. Here you can see the schematic from the document that shows where it will sit. Bottom ash contains highly toxic metals, including cadmium and arsenic, and hence the need for a properly lined ash pond to contain them. But just how much of this harmful ash is expected? According to studies, 1 ton of coal produces about 20 to 30 kilograms of bottom ash when burned. Recall from earlier that the plant will burn about 5 112 tons of coal per day. And from this simple calculation, we can see that over 100 tons of bottom ash will be produced per day. Using this value, let's conservatively assume the low end, or that only 102 tons of bottom ash is produced per day. This disposal area has a 5-year capacity as per the EIS, and therefore, according to this calculation, can hold 186,000 tons of ash. By comparison, the Holcim cement plant recently experienced a coal ash spill, which was in the amount of about 40 tons. This coal power plant would produce more than double that amount per day. The Holcim plant spill was already damaging, however, it is minute compared to the risk taken when the magnitude of this coal power plant's ash is considered. To see what kind of damage ash spillage can cause, I encourage you to look up the Kingston coal ash spill. For the sake of time, I cannot go into much detail on this, except to show you this image of the aftermath of this coal spill which occurred in the US, shown here. Now, finally, to return to the effect of the 111,000 tons per hour of seawater used and discharged by the plant into the sea. Here is an excerpt from a 2015 study about the effects of cooling water from power plants on marine ecosystems. Now, to briefly summarize what this excerpt says, in essence, the heated effluent water exiting the plant will affect corals and the overall marine ecosystem. The marine ecosystem is not a closed system, and thus there can be effects in short, medium, and long-range distances, including coral bleaching and marine wildlife decline. Himuki Island and Darigayos Beach are both within distance that these places can feel the effects of the effluent from the plant, and both areas are where people go to appreciate the nature, the corals, the marine life, and thus we can severely damage this aspect of the environment. This was a very quick and very brief presentation of the many aspects concerning the coal power plant. And indeed, it was, as I said, very brief presentation of the issues. To summarize, even with the best available cleaning technologies, huge emissions will occur from this plant. Emissions which cause health issues and environmental damage. Balaoan happens to fall at the distance where the greatest concentrations of emissions at ground level will occur. And we must be mindful of what we have learned from ash spills in the past, including the Holcim cement plant. We risk degrading our coral and marine life as well as our land, which is what this region of the Philippines has to profit from. I have read, Honorable Mayor Concepcion, of the commitment of your office to the preservation of a clean and green environment and a clean city. You have organized cleanup drives and encouraged these efforts, and indeed, Balaoan's recognition as the cleanest and greenest municipality in La Union in 2016 shows that you are a leader in this region. Today we appeal to you, as it is apparent that the damage felt by this coal power plant will not only be borne by the citizens of Luna, but also by you, our neighbors in Balaoan. Agriculture, fishing, environment, and individual health will be affected. And we ask for your support in our opposition of this plant, and for your voice to join with ours, as you are already a demonstrated leader in this movement for a clean environment. It would send a powerful message to your commitment to the health and wellness of your citizens, of Luna's citizens, and to all of the citizens of La Union, and would bring strength to our efforts in this manner. Any way that you can help to spread this message would be invaluable. Thank you for your attention. Mabuhay, and God bless you all. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Here are a few of the references that I have used, and thank you.